This is Rogers TV.
The following program is brought to you by Rogers Anyplace TV. Enjoy exclusive content for free. Visit RogersAnyplaceTV.com.
Well, hello and welcome back to our community. I'm your host, Kevin Young. It is a brand new year. 2020 is behind us. Let's hope for the best for 2021. And to start off this brand new year with our show, I have with me a very special guest, Stella Mitchell. Thank you so much, Stella, for joining us.
Thank you.
Stella, I want people that have seen you so involved with the community and with all those wonderful charities that we'll definitely get to, kind of get to know a little bit about Stella. Stella, are you originally from Corner Brook?
No, I'm not.
No?
I actually was raised on Bell Island on the East Coast.
Oh, wow.
Yep, and so I lived there until I was 13, and then I moved here to Corner Brook.
Bell Island, I got a quick question for you.
Yep.
Mummers or Jannies?
Jannies, I think.
Yeah?
I don't know.
Because I've seen this debate going online with a lot of Newfoundlanders from across the country, and they're asking Mummers or Jannies.
Yeah.
And I think everyone that says Jannies are from Bell Island.
Yep, it's Jannian.
Yeah, excellent. So that might settle that for those of you who are wondering. Jannies. So what was it like growing up in Bell Island?
It was a really small community. Like the island, I think, is 9 miles by 3 miles. It's not very big, but you had that freedom where you could go and, we swam in the ocean, we picked berries all summer long and played tag, skated on the ponds. Like, it was it's such a nice way to grow up.
It's like a bit of a paradise for
it was,
for growing up. Yeah.
Looking back, well, at the time when you're young and you're thinking, well, I want to go to the mall and I want to do this and I want to do that. So when you're young and you're thinking like that, you're thinking, well, this place is not really great for kids. But as an adult looking back, I'm thinking what a perfect place it was to raise a family.
Yeah.
Right?
And so your family are all originally from Bell Island?
My father's family is. My mother's family is from here. So my father passed away when I was 12. So then 6 months later, then when I turned 13, that's when we moved here to Corner Brook because my mother's family's from here.
Right. So she wanted to be close to family.
Yeah.
So any siblings, Stella?
Yeah, I have a younger brother and a younger sister. I'm going to call them younger, but they're all taller than me.
I'd say I have a brother. I have a younger brother who's about half an inch, and he lets me know he's a half an inch taller than me. I don't make that 6 foot marker. I'm 5'11" and a half. He's 6 foot. So I can't. I keep saying my little brother, and he looks at me and goes, "Really?" Yeah. So younger brother. A little bit bigger, but yeah, that's so you all moved here as a family. Mom, I guess, single mom at the time was definitely a bit of a difficult. So coming with family was a big deal.
Yeah, well, she had like her brothers and sisters, and her mother was still here and stuff like that. So we had family all around us afterwards, right?
Yeah,
so,
and that certainly would have helped.
Definitely.
Yeah. So tell me then, what was it like going from Bell Island and then throwing right into Corner Brook? Because at the time, Corner Brook was a bit more popular than what it is now, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. For me, it was like going to the big city. Corner Brook was a big city, but I've been here every summer previous. I used to come out with my aunt and spend the summers out here with my grandmother. So my brother and sister never had that. Like, they'd come out, but they weren't here as much as I was. Right. So to me, it was just like coming home anyway. Right. The only thing is, I didn't know anybody here outside of my cousins, so I had to make all new friends. Right. Right. Grade 8, I started grade 8 in September here. Wow. And so a bit of a difference in terms of yes, you've been here, but school in Bell Island, I think it's an all-grade school. You would have went to it there? Back then, actually, Bell Island had a bigger population too, so we had, I think there was 4 schools, like 2 Catholic for elementary and high school, and then they had 2 Anglican or Protestant for elementary and high school. So now they're down to just the 2 schools, 1 elementary and 1 high school. The population has declined so much. Yeah. Seems to be the case across the island a little bit. But that's not to take away from the fact that you came to Corner Brook and you got to spend some time here as a preteen growing up. What was, you mentioned some of the fun stuff you did in Bell Island. How did that change when you come to Corner Brook? What kind of things did you start doing here? Well, I joined Sea Cadets. I made some friends in school, and a couple of my friends in grade 8, they were in Sea Cadets. So I went to join there with them and made some friends there too. And I just kept busy, you know, being that mom was a single mom, so I had to pick up some of the slack. I was the oldest. So when it came to laundry and dishes and some of the cooking and stuff like that, like there was times that she'd be working until 11 o'clock at night. So I'd be coming home after school with my younger, because I was 13, my brother was 11, my sister was only 8. So I'd come home with them, and then it'd be on me to get something to eat for supper and stuff like that. So I kind of kept busy, right?
Yeah, and that kind of busy lifestyle has carried over into your adulthood, because you're busy now.
I am busy now.
Yeah. So you graduated high school here?
Well, I went to grade 12 here until December, and then I moved back to Bell Island to live with my aunt.
Oh.
And I stayed there, and I finished out grade 12 out there with the kids that I started kindergarten with.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
So that was different, a neat experience.
It was very different,
Yeah, so what led you back to Bell Island? Was it just to be with your aunt? Was
to be with my aunt. I didn't really get along with my mom a whole lot back then as a teenager.
Of course.
And so I moved back out with my aunt just to be closer to Dad's family, and, you know, just to get that break.
Right.
And so I did that and stayed out there for a year, and stayed with her and stayed with my aunt. And she taught me like different things, how to cook and how to clean. And even now, like when I'm cleaning the house, and I can hear her say to me, Stella, dust the top of the door, that gets dusty too. And I can still hear her saying that after all these years, you know? So I stayed with her for about a year, and then I came back here again. And when I came back here again, I went to work at Woolworth's Bakery, and I decorated cakes for a while, and picked up a couple of jobs, and I went back to college and moved back to Bell Island again, where they had Cabot College had a campus there. Right. So I went back over there and did college back. Yeah. My heart will always be on Bell Island.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So what was it you did in college then? Because you did college here and there. So was it two different things?
I did college back then. That was 93, 94. It was called Word Processing Operator. So it was kind of like a secretarial, almost like an office admin condensed. Right. It wasn't as big as what it is now. So I did that back then, and now I just started college here in September.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah.
And so you're in college now?
I am.
Again.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
I work full time and I'm in college.
Yeah, and you still got the charities.
Yep.
So like we said, busy.
Busy, always busy.
Yeah. So what did you do then? I guess when you finished your college in Bell Island, did you work in that field right away? Like what happened after that?
I actually, while I was in college, I was diagnosed with what they call pre-cancer. So I kind of got afraid, because the doctor told me had I waited 5 years, I would have had full-blown cancer. And it scared me, because my father had died from cancer just a few years prior. So I got a really bad fright out of it. So I thought, I gotta settle down, I gotta get married, I gotta have a child before this, you know. And so I did. I came back to Corner Brook, I met a man, I got married, and we had a son. And so my son now is 25.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah, and obviously you didn't die of cancer.
No, I didn't die here.
So that's interesting. Yeah. So pre-cancer, I'm not quite familiar with how they diagnosed that.
It was different kind of cells. It came from my pap test or whatever. It was different kind of cells, and the doctor said had I waited, it would have flared up and became worse. So
kind of like a dormant at the moment kind of thing.
So they caught it, they fixed it, and all better.
So you had some treatment for that?
I did out there. I had to go see a specialist out in St. John's. So.
Wow, it must have been scary.
It was, because I was on my own, really, because Mom and everybody was here, so I was on my own, really. You know.
Yeah. Wow.
But you get through things. You know.
You do.
Nothing makes you stronger than realizing that you're on your own.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But and yet you're not.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
It definitely does. So it can certainly create that empowerment. But then once you're around your family and your friends, and you remember, you remind yourself you're not alone.
Right.
So I guess your family would have helped you. You came back to Corner Brook, they helped you get through all of that. And you got married here.
I did. I got married here to my first husband.
Right.
We had a son, and then we moved to BC. And shortly after we moved to BC, we split up. Right. And I met my husband now, and we've been together almost 23 years. And I have 2 daughters.
Where in BC?
Fort Nelson, right up on the Alaska Highway.
So when they told you the best coast was the West Coast, you took it nationally.
Yeah, right? I just kept going.
So how long were you in BC for?
I was in BC for 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I went out there at the age of 24, my first time ever outside of Newfoundland.
Wow.
And I went.
That must have been exciting.
It was,
life.
especially to go way up north, and it was November 22nd when I moved out there. So I got off the plane, and the airport is small like Deer Lake. So you get off the plane, you have to walk outside before you can get to the terminal. And I got off and I was like, oh my God, it's freezing. It was like minus 45.
Wow.
I was like, let me back on the plane, take me home, and bring me to the temperatures again. Because
Yeah.
even though it was cold here, it wasn't that kind of cold, right?
Right. Well, we have a pretty temperate climate
Yeah.
here. You might get a bit of snow in the winter and whatnot, but I know that for myself, and it's probably something a lot of people don't know about me. I actually have a condition called cold urticaria.
Oh, okay.
It's an allergy. I'm allergic to cold.
Oh, wow.
So when it gets really cold, my whole body, I'll break out and crack, and
gee.
it's painful, it hurts. So in the wintertime, I kind of really bundle up.
Yeah.
But I've never really had it too bad here.
Mm-hmm.
And I've spoken to other people with the same condition, that live in other parts of Canada, some in Northern Ontario, and they've had no other choice but to move.
Wow.
So I'm grateful that, while I have that condition and we think of Newfoundland as being so cold,
Yeah.
it's pretty temperate.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
Don't go to Fort Nelson.
No, don't go to Fort
Especially
Nelson.
not in November.
So what did you do in Fort Nelson?
In Fort Nelson, I worked as in retail, and I just worked my way up. Like I started part-time and went all the way to assistant manager in
wow.
retail. Yeah, and then we became foster parents. So we stayed out there for the 8 years. And when we left to come down here, one of our foster daughters had the choice to come with
Right.
us or stay. And she was from out there. She had her family there, so she decided to stay. But we still keep in contact, and
Yeah.
she'll always be a part of our family.
Of course.
Right. So,
That's actually, fostering is something that my wife and I have talked a lot
Yeah.
about. Well, we have 4 kids.
Oh, okay.
And our youngest is almost 8. So
Yeah.
we're in no rush
Yeah.
to get to that stage. But when I was younger, I was actually in the system for a little
wow.
while, and for a lot of reasons, and I got to experience that. I've always said I wanted to be a foster parent,
Yeah.
even if it was only a temporary
Yeah.
home, for kids, just so that they know that they're not alone and they're
Right.
loved.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's wonderful. Did you take that back with you? That kind of fostering when you came back?
We looked at getting into it when we moved back down here. But here you had to do the pride training, and
Yes.
I thought, well, I got all these years of experience. What can they actually teach me in pride? So
Yeah.
I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do childcare. So I opened up my own daycare, and I started doing childcare. So now that's what I'm still doing now until I finish my college courses.
So you opened up a daycare in town. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a home-based daycare, so
Right.
it's right at my house.
Right. And that keeps you busy, of course.
Oh, definitely. Well, now, especially this year, right now I have an extra hour on my day because after my last kid leaves,
Right.
I have to start disinfecting the
Of
whole
course.
level, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So your son, I guess, did he go with you to BC when you moved?
He did, yeah. He came with me.
Yeah, and so you go to BC and a little
Yeah.
bit longer. So did he come back to
He
Corner
did.
Brook?
He
Yeah?
came back.
So
when
stayed
he
with
was
Mom?
10. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was 10 when we moved back here.
Wow.
And he stayed here, and actually now he's living out in Fort McMurray.
Oh, wow.
He decided to go
back
back out
west.
west. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I guess you can almost relate to the
Yeah.
whole moving thing. So you were able to relate to some of the emotions that he was
Definitely.
going through and things
Yeah.
like that. What did he find, I guess, different?
I think because he was raised out there.
Mm-hmm.
We moved there when he was 2. So to him, that's kind of more like home than what
Yes.
here is, because that's where he was raised. So
Yeah.
he likes it out there, and that's where the money is, right?
is,
so
yeah.
for him, so he made the decision to pack up and move out there, and I miss him every day, but
Of course.
it is what it is, you're right? So
Yeah. So does he come back often?
he came back for come home year, but
Yeah.
of course now he can't come back. So
You came back. Your son was 10.
Yep.
And you started working here. Your husband, he's from out west?
he's from Fort Nelson, and he had never been to Newfoundland before, and it was
Wow.
his idea to move here.
Yeah.
And he asked me one day. He came home from work and he said, "Let's move to Newfoundland." And I said, no, I don't really want to. At that point, I didn't really want to. I was
Right.
afraid to come back, and I didn't want to come here and have him not get a job and get caught up in the system. And I said, let's just stay here and let's just make this work, and we'll be okay. And 2 years later, he came back to me again. He goes, "You know what? Let's just go." And I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So anyway, he went back to work. He put in his notice. We put the house up for sale. We started boxing things up and shipping it off, and next thing you know, we were here
Wow.
at the end of March in 2005.
And so he found work here?
At first he was doing construction, and now he works with the city. He did the heavy equipment course, and
Oh, wow.
he works with the city now. So.
Excellent. And so what was the reunion like? Coming home, 10 years.
Coming home, it was, to be away for so long. When you live here, you look around and you see the beauty, and it's just, you get used to all the waves and the ocean and that kind of thing. But when you go away and you're gone, because when I was gone for those 8 years, I didn't come home for a holiday. I stayed out there because I thought if I come home, I'm not going to want to go back, right?
Yeah.
So I stayed out there. But to come home and see it all with brand new eyes again, like I look at things differently now. Like when I go to like Cape Ray is my favorite place on earth. I don't know if you've ever been to Cape Ray out by Port of Bass.
Yes.
So you pull in and you pull up by the lighthouse, and the waves are just crashing on that rocky shore. And then you pull up on the other side, and it's nothing but sandy beach. Like, it's just heaven on earth. And I can go out there and I can spend hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
You know, you see it with different eyes now.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Lark Harbour and Bottle Cove, just going out and enjoying that area. Blow Me Down is another spot. So you come home and you see all of that, and obviously your emotions start to get involved, and you're glad to be home.
Well, I still, even now when I go to the Santa Claus parade, I cry.
Yeah?
I cry through the parade because I'm just so thankful to be here. You know, I'm so glad to be here, and I'm looking around at all this stuff, and like the parade and the people in it, and the mailmen coming along and passing out candies to the kids and taking their letters to Santa, and I'm sitting here going, man, this is just awesome. You know, it's so good to be here, and it's so good to raise my kids here, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm happy to be home.
And so how many children?
I have, well, my son is 25, and I have a daughter who's 19 and another daughter who's 16.
Oh, wow. And so your two daughters are still here, are they?
Yeah. Well, my youngest was only 9 months when we moved here, so this will always be home to her.
Right.
Yeah, and my older daughter, she was 3 when we moved here.
So kind of the same thing with your son, I guess, because 2 in West and 3 here, so this is home for her.
Yep. Yeah. And she's my oldest one, Joey. She's doing courses at Grenfell now. So, and now like it's all online or whatever. She'd much prefer to be in the classroom, but it's online. So she's doing it there. She's enjoying it still.
Yeah.
And my younger daughter, she's in grade 11 at Corner Brook Regional High.
Wow.
So she keeps busy with basketball and stuff. She actually just started her first part-time job right before Christmas. So.
Right.
Yeah, so she's excited about that too.
Yes, that is awesome. Yeah, so I guess the hard work is poured down from mom to kids.
Yeah, and they'll come with me sometimes on the miracles and stuff too, right? So, and even in the daycare and stuff, they'll help me in the daycare. And
so how long were you here back with your family before you started the daycare? You didn't just jump right into that?
No, I didn't. I didn't jump right in. I took maybe about 3 or 4 years. And then I kicked it up and started it up. So
yeah. So I guess it's a passion for children, and
it is. I always loved being around kids and stuff. And I think the hardest part for me was I had a job, and my husband at the time was working with the city, but he would take a layoff in the fall, and then he would get called back during the winter. And there was one time in particular where he got called into work, and I had to go to work. And so I called my friend and I said, can you watch Avery for me while I go to work until John comes back? And she said, yeah, no problem. And when I brought Avery to her house, Avery just took her gear off and skipped on in through, and I cried the whole way to work because I thought she's not going to miss her mom. Right? So I went to work and I told my boss, I said, that's it. This is my notice. I'm done. I need to stay home with my kids.
Right.
So I stayed home with my kids, and then I thought, well, if I'm going to be home, I need to make money. So I started taking children into my home then and built my daycare that way.
Yeah. It's funny. My wife was a stay-at-home mom for all of our kids. And when our youngest, she's, like I said, turning 8, started going to school, my wife started getting really bored then. Nothing to do during the day. So when she finally went back to work, it's so cute to hear, but at the same time, I don't know. Our daughter's always, Mommy, don't you love me anymore? Trying to guilt trip mom into staying home, right? But you had the luxury of having a daycare at home and being there. And
well, it left me, like if one of my kids were sick, they could stay home, and I didn't have to worry about calling a boss to say I can't come in today. Right? So it gave me that luxury to raise my kids, stay home, and still have an income as well. So it worked, and it's still working because I still have the daycare. So.
And so how long have you been doing daycare then?
Oh, well, Avery's 16, so maybe about 10 or 11 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, wonderful. And then, you finally now are going back to school.
Yep.
So what are you taking now? Early childhood,
before Christmas, before Christmas, I started off in September to do the business admin accounting course. But right in November there, I decided that I was going to change programs after Christmas, and in January I'm starting office admin, records and information management.
Oh, wow.
So I'm changing courses, but I'm excited about it. So.
But it's not too different.
No.
So you're going to use that, I guess, to help business?
Well, after
Isn't there?
once my course is done, I'll give up the daycare.
Oh, wow.
And I'll move on and hopefully get a job. Hopefully somebody will hire me.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm sure with your reputation, you have no problems there.
I hope.
So at what point then did you start getting involved with charity? Because I don't think you just jump right into 12 months.
I didn't. In 2015, I made a New Year's resolution. And normally New Year's resolutions are all about like my gym membership, or I'm going to give up junk food and I'm going to give up pop, this kind of thing. But in 2015, I decided that my New Year's resolution was going to be I was going to do something for somebody else once a week. I was going to put in an effort once a week and do something, and I nicknamed it 52 weeks, 52 people. And once a week, I put in the effort, and I did it 52 weeks of that year. At the end of that year, my husband and I went to St. John's to see Jeff Dunham. I had given him tickets to Jeff Dunham for Christmas. And so we drove out, we left the kids here, we drove out, and as we were driving out, I said, you know, like, to do things once a week is getting to be a bit much. How about if we condense it and do one bigger thing instead of all these small things? Why not do just one bigger thing once a month? And then I nicknamed it 12 Months, 12 Miracles. So I decided to do that, and then a friend of mine wanted to come on board with me. So she came on until January, she stayed until May. And then she had some personal things going on, so she had to pull out kind of deal. And I kept it going, and it's still going now.
Yeah.
So actually, January 3rd, we turned 6 years old.
Wow.
12 Months, 12 Miracles is 6 years old.
And so you've impacted a lot of lives. So, and it's great because, you know, as great as the weekly one that you were thinking about, you impacted 52 people. I think you impact a lot more than that now with 12 Months, 12 Miracles.
Oh, definitely.
You've had a lot of things. Can you describe some of the stuff that you've done over the years with 12 Months?
It used to be that if you asked me that question, I could list it all off. And now it's like, oh my God, there's so much. Our big things are Black the Bus. We support Black the Bus every year. So that's school supplies for Vine Place. And we do the toy drive every year. We also host a giving tree every year so that we register children from families who need help. And then I have angel buyers come in and adopt the child and then buy for that child for Christmas. We do that. We take on Christmas families. We have delivered treats and coffee and sandwiches to the first responders all around Corner Brook, all groups. We've supported the SPCA. We've, oh my God, there's just so much. So much. Like, we've been everywhere. I've tried to spread it out as much as I possibly can.
So would you be able to put a dollar figure on how much financially that 12 Months, 12 Miracles has been able to contribute?
Normally, because I do keep a good record, normally in a run of 12 months, we usually bring in anywhere between 15 and 20,000.
Wow.
100% comes in, 100% goes out. So we break the bank. At the end of every month, we start fresh again at a zero balance, and we build up for that next month. So we usually bring in between 15 and 20,000.
That is amazing.
Now, 2020 was a different kind of year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. So. Well, you brought that much in with the help of the restaurants, 15,000 and change with the Best of the West Burger.
In 30 days.
So, yeah, that was crazy. So explain how that came about and how, because that was huge. And I think so many people took part in that.
Yeah. We had a friend of mine messaged me and she said, Stella, this is going on in Gander. It's called Gander Burger Battle. She said, you should run something like that here. And I thought, like, I'm so busy, I don't have time. And then I thought it over for a couple of days and I thought, this is for the kids. You got to do it, Stella. It's for the kids. So I did, and I figured out a way to do it and get the poll done in the group and stuff like that. So I had 5 days to put this burger competition together. I had to get all the restaurants on board, and I had to get my influencers in place so that we could start on November 1st.
Wow.
And I did it in 5 days.
Wow. Crazy. So you must have reached out to just about every restaurant.
I did.
Some said no, some no.
But some of them declined, and they didn't want to come on, and that was fine.
Probably kicking themselves in the butt now.
Yeah, right. But then the ones that came on, we even had one come on in Trout River, so and one in Deer Lake. So it was nice to see the outer communities too get involved. And the influencers and I, we visited every single restaurant to try their burgers. Like even in Trout River, we all piled in the car and drove to Trout River.
Well, you created that Facebook page,
Yep.
the hashtag Best in the West Burger.
Yep.
And I've been following that since, I can't say day one, it was a little bit into it, but I've been seeing so many people posting all the burgers they've been trying and all that kind of stuff. And some of the restaurants have continued with some of those burgers that they designed specifically for the competition. Think you'll be doing something like that again next year?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Definitely, but I'll have more than 5 days to put it together
More than
next
5.
year.
And probably a few more restaurants jumping in on that.
Hopefully.
So that was a huge deal because I know that the fire department was a little bit concerned about fundraising this year, especially because of COVID. They didn't really want to get people together, but you found a way to get the fundraising tenfold, and would not only get this huge fundraising, but to do it in a way that maintain, COVID safe and social distance and all that, but also boost the economy, because how many restaurants grew in new business?
Definitely.
I mean, I'll be honest, Stella, that is, for me, it's absolutely mind-blowing.
It was a win-win situation for everybody involved. For the people who were going, the customers that were going out for supper and stuff, having that socialization. It was a win for the businesses who saw an uptick in their income, and it was a win for the toy drive. And it was a win for 12 Months, 12 Miracles too, because it helped to get our name out there a little bit more, because you wouldn't believe the number of people that they haven't heard of us.
Wow.
Right, even after 5 years of doing this, they haven't heard of us.
So how can people learn a bit more about 12 Months, 12 Miracles then?
Facebook is the best way, because I'm all over Facebook with it.
Yeah, so they can just go on Facebook and the search, type in 12 Months, 12
Months, 12 Miracles, it'll bring you right to the group. Yeah.
And so you have any plans now for, 2020 was a hectic year. We're hoping now 2021 is going to be a little bit easier to really get out and do things. Any plans that you see coming up for? I
haven't sat down and actually put my head in it for 2021. I know that we will do Block the Bus again, and we will definitely do the toy drive again. But as for anything else, I haven't really committed to anything, just because school was so busy and starting a new program. I thought, well, I'll just give myself some time, and something usually does land on my lap, and when it does, I'll run with it.
So the best thing people can do, I guess, is follow the Facebook page, and anytime you come up with something, you'll be able to
that's where I'll put all the information in, and like whatever it is we decide to do, I'll have a list there, and if people want to help, they can check out the list and then get a hold of me and drop off at my house, or I can arrange pick up and that kind of thing. So it's so easy to get involved in stuff like this, right?
So. I'm still mind blown about the burger competition. It really was something. I really look forward to it again next year.
They sold in 30 days 3,944 burgers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Stella, I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I really do. I really wish we could talk more.
Yeah.
You've got a wonderful story to share, and I appreciate that. And you're an absolutely amazing contribution to this community. So glad you moved back to Corner Brook, as are so many thousands of lives that you've impacted on such a positive way.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. Continue doing what you do. We really appreciate it. For those of you watching, thank you for tuning in and watching this episode of Our Community. And we'll see you again next time. Until then, bye for now.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Looking for great seats to all the action? Rogers Super Sports Pack delivers. With NBA League Pass, get up to 40 out-of-market games every week, all season long. more dunks, more slams, more to love, live in HD. NBA League Pass, part of the Rogers Super Sports Pack. All this for only $35.95 a month. Order through your remote on Channel 431 or call 1-888-ROGERS-1 today.
I took this picture of my wife when she was near death, waiting for a liver transplant. And this is her now.
Hello, I'm Lise Breckenridge. A liver transplant saved my life.